This program is produced by Eagle Mountain Apostolic Resource Center. To find additional episodes of this program, as well as other content, visit eaglemountain.tv.
Hey everybody, welcome to Together We Build. My name is Mr. Sin.
You apish, beast-eating abomination.
Are you kidding me?
Okay, here we go. What is a group of pigs called?
A potluck?
How are you doing there, Foxy? Finding out what you're doing after this show. Maybe we could go grab some drinks or something. What do you say?
No thanks.
I for sure will go in there to get that. Give me that thing.
No, it's not safe in my shirt.
Right here.
From you.
Hey everyone, welcome to Together We Build. My name is Chris Behnke, and I'm here with
Prudence O'Hare.
Prudence O'Hare. Awesome. We are in the middle of this amazing series on creativity, that everyone is creative, and I'm super excited to pick up where we left off. Prudence, in the last episode, really started talking about her background and a little bit of her story, and it was super powerful, really powerful. If you have not seen that episode, you're going to want to catch it. Probably they could just watch it after this one. I don't know if they should pause this, go to that one. I don't know.
Yeah. But
it is definitely worth going to. You can find that and all the other episodes at chrisandprudence.com. You definitely want to check those out. So let's get into that. But before we do that, we got to do the things. We got to do the stuff. So right off, here's the trivia. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many books of the Bible are there?
66.
66. Okay, great. How many? That's correct. So we're doing this trivia, a religious Christianity trivia, a relationship trivia, and a general trivia. So
Okay.
Awesome. But how many are in the New Testament?
27.
Let's get it. Come on. You're basically a theologian. Okay. According to a prominent study on relationships, what is the most common cause of arguments in relationships? Money. Would you say that's true for us?
No.
That's because we don't have arguments, obviously.
Well, once we get more money, maybe it'll be
Okay, random trivia. What is the capital of Australia?
Sydney.
No. Canberra. That's probably
wouldn't know that.
That's probably not how you're supposed to say it. But Sydney is a city in Australia, so I'm giving you the points.
You shouldn't give me the points if I didn't get it.
All right, you got something there? Are we going after that?
Nah.
No, we're not doing that?
Let's just head.
Well, no, we got to do this video.
All right.
I got a video. Now, this video has absolutely nothing to do with our topic, but I do feel like it is, gosh, why does it always do it like this? I do feel like it is absolutely worth watching. Here we go.
Okay. Where did his pants go?
Watch it again.
Oh, the leash. The leash took him off.
Wait, one more.
Did they just go through the screen?
Yep, right through the screen door. Or right through the door. Has that ever happened to you, Prudence?
No, I hope it never does.
I hope it never
That would
does
be
too.
embarrassing.
Especially because the person went leaping out the door. Okay, all right. So in the last episode, let's do a quick recap. Your childhood, author. You've written 2 supernatural thrillers. You've produced a whole bunch of prophetic music CDs. You create all kinds of things from clothing to earrings, jewelry. You are doing watercolor paintings, just all kinds of creative things. And we just talked about having the space in your childhood to actually have the freedom to explore those things.
Yeah. So we'll just pick up from there.
I think where we left off was you had just
So I was
planted
homeschooled most of my life. There was 2 years, 1st grade and 8th grade, where I got put into private school.
Okay.
But other than that, everything was homeschooled.
Perfect.
So yes,
Let's go.
multiple ways. And I think we should switch gears to why do we have the drive to create, and how is God involved in all of this? So everything we see has been created. It's been fashioned either directly from God, nature, animals, humans, etc., or has been created through the channels of human beings, but it's never without a spiritual influence of some sort, because we're spiritual beings, and everything that we do, there's that spiritual aspect into it. So we come packaged from heaven to earth with downloads inside of us to produce something. And I think that we also get even more downloads and fresh downloads just from like some sort of like computer software where, you're getting a new update. I think that heaven sends us new ideas and new ways, solutions, and new ways.
It's like
of
the
doing
Matrix, right?
things.
You get plugged in and you get uploads.
Exactly. So I think that also when we have the Holy Spirit dwelling inside of us on top of this, because we don't all have Holy Spirit dwelling inside of us.
That's right.
So we should be even more powerful in the creative department.
No, wait a second. I want to make sure and I understand what you're saying. So you're saying because as Christians we have the Holy Spirit, we should be even more creative than the world around us.
Yeah.
And what a shame when we're not.
Because
how disappointing is that?
We have an extra, he's like the turbo booster on everything that we do, or he should be, right? If we have activated him inside of us the way that he wants us to, then that is a turbo inside of us in everything that we do. So, I feel like all of us human beings have this satisfaction when we're finished with a project, when we've got a fresh idea and we want to implement it, that there's just really this satisfaction that is like, seems to be like no other, for you, it's, really that progress and making a project come to completion and that action. And for me, it's like solving problems in a lot of ways. It's kind of like you get this angst inside of your head where you're like, I need to come up with a solution for this. But even creating artistry is very much like coming up with solutions to things. If you think about it, it's like you have something in your mind, or you're like tangibly holding something and you're wanting to produce something out of chaos, which is solving something. It's like putting something together and making it come together. So it brings a satisfaction to us, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that there is a lot to be said about creating in our woundedness.
What do you mean by that?
So I think that there's lots of different types, but so if you've got somebody who does not have the Holy Spirit dwelling in them, they're not professing Christians or believing in God and that sort of thing, they're coming to the table of their production in a very hurt, painful state. So the thing that they have been given or gifted is going to come out in weird formats in ways that are not maybe what the Lord intended for that to be produced in.
Right.
So you see this a lot in music,
Right.
where people are hurt, and it's coming out in their music.
Yeah.
And miserable people love to be around miserable people, which is why we all gravitate to the misery
loves company
in that miserable music, because we can identify with it.
Yeah.
And we want somebody to say we hear them, and they hear us. So art in picture formats is another way to see this. People can produce a lot of painful art.
Yeah.
A lot of art that is frankly not something you'd want hanging in your house.
Right. Weirdo art. Art.
Sculptures, and these speak without words. How many sculptures have we seen where it's like somebody strangling somebody? Or,
crazy stuff.
Our films and movies are plagued with this because it's such a easy way to produce the pain and the unhealed parts of us. I mean, how many movies are out there that have this, storyline that is really hurtful and painful? Or maybe it's one of those horror flicks. There is no good ending. There is no solution at the end of it.
Right.
It is literally, this is how it is, this is how it's going to be, and that's
and
it.
It kind of leaves
there's no hope. There's no hope at all. But all of that was coming from a place of an unhealed person. And they didn't put the hope in because they don't know it.
Yeah.
They don't know it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't come in. But you see this in fashion design and some of the things that don't make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah. You just see it and you're like, okay.
Novels and books.
Yeah.
Out there, I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about our pain and our hurt. I'm just saying, if we're coming from a space of a heart that hasn't been redeemed, we're not going to be able to deliver the hope within the thing that we're producing.
Right.
So inventions, we've got robots coming like crazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are being produced for nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
Selfish reasons. Won't go into that, but I think a lot of us know what we're talking about here. The political climate, government, leadership, even education. This is just all places where people are creating and grabbing for positions of power that they shouldn't be grabbing for because they're not cleaned up.
Yeah.
They're not healed people.
Their motivators
are not from a place where they should be after that office or even that position as a teacher.
Yeah.
And writing the curriculum that they're writing. So anyways, I think that a lot of us out there have been so bogged down with just busy. There's just busy. You go to bed as a 10-year-old and you wake up as a 55, 60-year-old and you don't know what happened in between. Like the life in between has literally, you don't know. How did you get here? Just yesterday you were 10. You had your life in front of you. And the only thing that you remember doing was going to work every day, working your boring, yawn-worthy job, and coming home and, maybe you're depressed your whole life or something of that nature. But it's like we as human beings, just like in the story of the adult Peter Pan with Robin Williams in it, he had such a great time when he was in the world of childhood.
Neverland, yeah.
The Neverland. And playing and just creating and having fun. And then, that adulthood hit him and he forgot everything about what it was like to have that childlike heart. And that's that story in Peter Pan with Robin Williams, is he has to go back and remember, for his children's sake, actually, to find the joy again.
Yeah.
And I think that life just has a way of sucking out of us.
Yeah.
Out of the energy that we put into it, and we get depressed and we just get into this mundane, this is how everything goes. And that's when you get to the end of your, you wake up one day and you're like, what have I even,
how did I get here? What have I done?
Where did all those years go?
Yeah.
Who am I?
Totally.
What have I been doing? And I think that that it's important that we know that adulting can kill our creative origin, and it's important that we don't let it happen. And if we're like listening to this now and we're like, yeah, actually, definitely I've let that slip.
Yeah.
Then I think it's important that we know that you can pick yourself back up and go back and begin again.
Yeah, come on.
Now is the time to do that. You dropped your violin lessons when you were 20 because,
or 10.
Or 10 or whatever, but you still love the instrument. You still have it. Go get started on it again. Bring back the colored pieces that you remember going after. Because this is a part of doing adulting well, is that we don't forget to play and to go and explore new areas. We're never too old to do something new, to try something new. In fact, scientifically, doing new things is really important for our brains.
Yeah.
Because it helps build those
neurological pathways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Even when people, if people are walking down the path of dementia or whatever, I think doctors tell them to make sure that they are practicing doing new things. Do the word puzzles, do the trivia, it
makes a big difference.
Read, really exercise that brain. But I think that we have to really, creating is work. It is work. It is a work. And it is really tough when at the end of the day, we are exhausted from just trying to make ends meet by trading our time for finances to buy a sack of groceries. And it's discouraging because when we're tired, we don't want to work more.
Right.
And creating in and of itself is work.
Yeah.
If we lay it out on the table, it is work.
It's a good work, but it still takes effort.
So it's easy enough to sweep it off and say, I'm just too tired to do it. I'm just too tired to do it. But in reality, that is exactly what the devils want. They want us so consumed and exhausted from the mundane that we're doing that he doesn't want us exploring other areas. He doesn't want us producing. He doesn't want us dreaming and hoping and, moving things forward. And I think that we're all plagued with that same temptation.
Yeah.
I know on many times in my life, I have felt discouraged because I felt so exhausted with the other things that I've had to do that I'm just like looking at my stuff and I'm like, why do I even have this stuff?
Right.
Why don't I just get rid of it? Why am I even keeping this?
Yeah.
But that is...
What do you say to yourself at that point?
Well...
What do I say to you to snap you back into...
Yeah, it's usually, it's usually just it's coming from a point where I feel tired, and I shouldn't be saying things like that when I'm tired.
Right.
You know, let's not make big decisions and decisions
Never
when
go
we're
to the grocery
tired.
store when you're hungry.
Right. So I think it's important that we don't just box up all of our paint brushes and get rid of the instrument because we haven't touched it in 2 years or 3 years or 10. You know, don't do that. Don't do that. That's admitting that's a finalization of never going to do it.
Yeah.
Never going to do it. You're giving into what we shouldn't be giving into. So I think making sure that, you know, we that the devils are out there trying to derail us from creating with our orders from heaven, and they're minimizing the things that we do. Largely, I just do this, you know. Here's a story. So my grandmother was her husband, my grandfather, was a naval captain. She moved all over the place and such. And she was asked one time, I don't know if it was an interview or what, but she was asked, well, what is it that you do that you enjoy? And she's like, oh, just silly little things like yard work and needlework and sewing, silly things. But you could tell from like the tone of how she phrased her words that she felt like they were worth nothing.
Yeah, like they didn't count.
Yeah, it's not as big as, you know, what my husband does for work, or, you know, it's not some Monet in the museum or whatever. But here's the thing is that, you know, Monet didn't get to the museum by not painting and doing his stuff.
Right.
He had to start with scribbles on a paper, and it looked like nothing, you know.
Yeah.
He had to keep doing. Every great artist, every person has to continue to practice their art, their craft, their work, to get better and better and better at it. And we can't belittle ourselves in what we're doing.
That's right.
Your watercolor, your practice of your watercolor, or your practice of building out that computer program to even more excellence is important to the world. It's important to bring heaven down, because those pieces are meant to be here and to be seen and to be shared. And so some of the how much time do we have? Not very much time.
Not very much time. We're going to continue this on the next one.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like the story that you talk about with the runaway bride is important.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of us, especially in our childhoods, I didn't have this problem because my parents set me up in a culture where I had a lot of time to identify who I was and to explore and expand. And children don't get that largely today.
You had time and space.
Children don't get that today. We're put into schools from 0 to however long, all day.
Some people are 60 when they're still in school.
All day. And we're consuming things that we don't care about most of the time. Yep. And after that, maybe we're getting put into babysitters' hands until dinner. And then it's like this really strict schedule. Maybe we're put into sports which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with sports. But what I am saying is that our lives, especially from start to finish, are over busy. We're over busy.
No space.
There is no time to sit and think about who we are, because we're too busy taking in over here. We're paying attention to how to put the ball in over here. We're not paying attention to our individual self-awareness. We don't have the time of boredom. May I say that? But boredom breeds great creativity.
Yeah.
So we have to be, as children, in places of boredom. That means no shows, no phones, no, music blaring, no, just working on the homework that we're supposed to be doing. It's literally like how many times do you see people these days, especially teenagers and kids, doing nothing, sitting there staring at the world.
How often do you see it?
How often do you see it?
Only when their battery runs out.
And then what are they doing? They're like freaking out because they don't know what to do with themselves.
True. Yeah. There's not space allowed. It's not even necessarily acceptable to have space now.
Yeah.
We got to fix that.
So in the movie Runaway Bride,
Julia Roberts.
Yeah, she has an identity problem. She doesn't really know what she wants, which is why she
or
keeps...
who she is.
And so she gets asked in the movie, or told in the movie, you don't even know how you like your eggs. And it was kind of an aha moment for her because she couldn't argue with it. She's like, yeah, you know what? I don't, actually. I don't know myself even to the point of knowing how I like my eggs. So she lined up all the different types of eggs, how they were cooked, and sampled them all, and did some work on herself to try to figure out what she wanted. Now, this is just one word picture, but I mean, the truth is that how many of us are in that boat where we have no clue who we are to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have to know largely how to be self-aware enough in our own selves to know what's in here.
Yeah.
To pull out, to practice, to do, which direction to go. A lot of that, can come out as feelings or emotions. But I mean, I know that if I was going to pick a career choice, I would have probably been a beautician. I would have done nails. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
And do I think that it's too late for me? No, I don't. I know that I have the option to do that if I still want to do it. If I do. Okay. So I'm not like saying that I'm too old to go down that route.
Right.
But what I am saying is that I think that we need to give ourselves time and space without the hurried, busy nonsense and noise. It just plagues us. The industrial sounds, the phone ringing off the hook, the constant you have mail alert,
babe, phones don't have hooks anymore, just so you know.
Just everything that just wants to interrupt the space of like quiet time and just like sitting still and being able to just stare without feeling like you're a weirdo. I don't have any problems with that, but I know a lot of people do because we feel like
we're supposed to be doing something all of the time. And I think that stillness and quietness and rest can really scare us if we're not used to it. Yeah.
And make us feel afraid or lonely or weird or I don't know, anything.
So we're gonna keep going in this into the next episode, and we're gonna really talk about different ways of being creative, and is it okay to monetize the things that you're creating, and what does the Bible say about some of that stuff? So you definitely want to stick with that. But Prudence, I would love it if you would just, if you look back at these last two episodes, especially this episode, like, what is the main takeaway? Some of the things that I feel like I'm learning from hearing you share this, and we've talked about this a lot, but it's something I need to continue to relearn, is making sure that there's space to let your brain work with the Holy Spirit and develop the things that are in there without being interrupted. But what else? What do you have to say about that? And what else? What are the other things that people should take away from this episode?
Well, I want people to be excited about what is in them what is inside
Not be
you.
ashamed of it.
Don't be ashamed of it.
Or afraid of it.
Or afraid of it.
Yeah,
but
so
to realize that it isn't too late to keep going in the trajectory that you thought you wanted to go, and to purposely make space for the thing or things, maybe there's several, that you want to start practicing or developing in that area, and not be afraid of the challenges and the work that it involves.
Yeah.
Because it really is a struggle sometimes to find the space to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to do it if we don't purposely set out to do it, because
totally.
like busy with all of the other things is just like a major fast growing weed in our lives. It really is.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to actually have the space to grow into the creative pieces that you know you have inside you, or you want to attempt to try. And may I say, it's perfectly fine to try something and decide that it's not for you.
Yeah, you don't have to do
You don't have to keep continuing.
Totally.
But the thing is that you won't know if that is a road you want to travel until you start it.
Right.
So it's important to set up a place for you to say, you know what, I don't have to be perfect at this or excellent at this, but I do want to give it a try.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
That's so
And to just not be afraid of that.
Yeah.
And to set yourself up to be okay with, your first watercolor not looking that great.
Yeah. Yeah, mine was pretty hideous looking.
Same.
Yeah, but yours now look amazing.
But that's because I keep going on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, practice makes more excellent.
Practice makes better.
Yeah, it does.
Well, Prudence, thank you for pushing into this some more. I feel like this is so important for people to understand that they too are called to be creative, because God designed us in his image. He's a creative God. And there's solutions that are lurking around in your brains to problems, but there's also beautiful things that need to be created that will help inspire others as well. And I just want to encourage you to take the time necessary to pour into that more, to look into that, to spend the time and invest in yourself to bring some of those things out. If you don't know what that looks like, just sit down in quiet space for a little bit and take some time and let the Lord speak to you in that way. I feel like you've got something to say.
Well, I also want to say that we have to come from a point of not being selfish with the things that we produce. We run into the problem of we feel like people are going to reject us, or that people won't like it, or they won't buy it. But I think that should, we have to overcome that.
Yeah.
We have to put our stuff out there. We
And
have
be
to
bold.
share.
We got to be
We
bold.
have to share it. And eventually those emotions and feelings will settle down as you work through them.
Yeah. So good. That's so good. I mean, at the end of the day, basically, what Prudence is saying is you need to be bold in that area and be brave in that area, and really step into things that will help you learn how to express things. And that's what you should do. And you're not too old. You're not too old. You're not too old. You're not too young either, but you're definitely not too old to start something, to learn something, to step into a new area. So just would encourage you to do that. We would really strongly encourage you to take some time, maybe even this week, and think about what are some things that you'd like to try out. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to try sculpting. I need to order, $2,000 where I need a kiln, and just like try something new. It doesn't have to be grand or huge.
Yeah.
Just try something
There's
new.
lessons out there for so many things, so many things.
Absolutely.
And you can get going in just one lesson.
Yeah.
And know if you want to keep going. But the world needs what is inside everyone.
The world needs what's inside you, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
The world
we need
needs
what's inside
you.
Yeah.
So take some time to do that. If you want to watch the other episodes that are part of Together We Build, you can go to chrisandprudence.com. You can find everything there that we produce, other shows, all the content that we have. You can find Prudence's books and music, my books, links to the Human Nexus, all the things that we're producing through our work and our ministries you can find there. This show is produced by Eagle Mountain TV. You can learn more about that and find other incredible content, like amazing stuff, over at eaglemountain.global. Click on the EMTV button. And also you can support what we're doing here in this ministry and everything else by clicking on that give button. We would love to hear from you as well. So don't hesitate to reach out. And we will pick this up where we're leaving off here. We'll pick this up next week on the next episode. We will see you there.
Yeah. God bless.